welcome to day 2 of our 30-day personal brand growth plan. It's been really fantastic to have people join and have a lot of conversations in the background. So welcome. Day 2. If you didn't catch day 1, then go and watch the replay or listen to the replay. The concept behind day 1, just as a bit of a snapshot, was to think about your existing personal brand. And one of the resources that we were able to provide our clients around this topic is the Brand Yourself Blueprint. So go across to brandyourselfblueprint.com and grab the resource there. So today we're looking at day 2. Very exciting. So if you haven't caught up with some of the commentary yet, what we've done, or what I've done, is developed 3 training programs. Each of them have 10 action steps. So over the next 30 days, the idea is that I'm going to share with you each of those 10 action steps. So today we're within the Brand Yourself action plan. So we're looking at action step number 2, and then we'll go into Brand Yourself the Expert for the second set of 10 days, and for the final third of the 30 days we'll look at Brand Yourself the Authority. So the idea is that we need to be thinking about our planning. They say that to save 8 hours, if you spend 2 hours planning, you will actually save 8 hours. So developing a plan is really important. And so today and over the next 30 days, my idea was to actually give you the action steps that we would take to actually build out a personal brand and establish it as the authority in its marketplace. And so this is something that many of my clients have done. So we've done these over, 36 weeks. Webinar series, training series. So the idea is to strategically and systematically build your most persuasive and compelling personal brand. And to do that, we talk about developing a Brand Yourself action plan. So that really is about discovering, defining, and creating a captivating and compelling personal brand, your personal brand. Okay, so you may be wondering, who am I? So my name is Rachel Quilty. I'm an author. I'm also a filmmaker. I am a personal brand strategist as well as a brand management consultant. So I have a company, JumptheQ Inc. in the US as well as in Australia, and I've kind of circled the wagons insofar as I've got a number of trading names in Australia, trademarked JumptheQ in the US and also Australia as well. So I've now been talking about personal branding and business branding for over 20 years. My first public workshop was 4th of July 2003. So I actually started the business 1 July 2002, but really didn't go public with my first workshop until 4th of July 2003. So I've been in this space for quite a long while. I launched my book 10 years ago in the US, was invited onto Voice America, invited to speak at various boot camps in Las Vegas. And I was really privileged insofar as that I was also a speaker on the stage where some of the biggest internet marketers and marketing gurus in the world were also speaking. So I got to meet quite a number of them and share that space with them. So today we're looking at day 2, Brand Yourself Action Plan, action step number 2. And so the idea behind developing this Brand Yourself Action Plan, or this 30-day personal brand growth plan, is so that you know how to build a powerful personal brand. You can create a brand that attracts opportunities. You can develop a brand that reflects your potential as well as your goals. You can differentiate your brand, and then ultimately by day 30 you'll have a concept of how you can brand yourself as the authority. And often, we all know about personal branding. We know about branding. We know it's important, but why is it important? So when you start to unpack the benefits of personal branding and building your brand and and gaining some momentum around your brand awareness, you get to improve your business credibility and positioning. You can increase your confidence and effectiveness. You can improve your communication, increase your persuasiveness, earn improved market standing or greater market share, and help achieve your business goals. So it can really accelerate your success. So when you start to focus on your personal brand, you have that laser targeted branding momentum start to build, and you can start to gain instant credibility and instant celebrity. You can create a brand that attracts clients and promoters and joint venture opportunities. You can gain that all important competitive edge. You can start to premium price yourself if you haven't already, and you really can brand yourself as the authority in your marketplace. And like I said, once you start focusing on your brand, you can really start building momentum. So when I was writing the book, actually, before it was even launched, I was gaining a lot of momentum around the personal branding space. So, I had opportunities to be a guest speaker on various radio stations, interviewed by Channel 9, quoted in various magazines. And so you can really start to gain a competitive edge. And as a result of, really gaining this momentum around personal branding and becoming really synonymous with personal branding, I was able to leverage that to the opportunities in the US, and then created my organization and company there. One of the things that is really important that I often talk about is talking about gaining this competitive edge. And so I talk about competitive edge from my own perspective, because what it allowed me to do is it really allowed me to gain a competitive edge over my, people that may have been in a similar space. And I was recognized really as the authority in personal branding. And the reason that is because I had moved personal branding away from a space where it was considered about your signature style, your professional image, and more into adopting big business principles to your personal brand. And one of the I guess markets that I was able to attract as a result was direct sales marketing, multi-level marketers. And the reason was because when you consider these marketplaces, the only differentiator from any other person that's selling that product is yourself, your own personal brand, because you have literally the same products, the same marketing material. So, how do you differentiate yourself? How do you create a competitive edge? And it really is about building your own personal brand. So, Marina was one of my first students, actually, and so she had this to say. Rachel Quilty's Brand Yourself Action Plan is an invaluable source of inspiration and guidance in my business, which relies heavily on personal branding. I cannot recommend it highly enough for every direct sales agent out there. This is a must-have resource for everyone in sales. This insightful and instructional action plan on personal branding will help you create a competitive edge and position your personal brand to stand out from the crowd. So, Marina was able to establish herself very quickly and easily as a personal brand in her field. And so I really like how she kind of gives you the, the idea that there are some really truly important benefits to be achieved when you start focusing on your personal brand, this competitive edge. And she also mentions a brand yourself action plan. And really it is a secret to success to actually have a action plan in place. If you don't already have like a strategic plan, your action plan, and then your tactics and action steps within that, then it's really important that you go back and do that. If you haven't done something like that, we'll look at that in, around the day 11 and 12, when I start talking about your business model and strategic plan for your personal brand. So let me just walk through quickly the action steps. Action step number 1, as we talked about yesterday, discover your existing personal brand. Action step 2, which we're going to talk to today, is determine your brand target audience. Action step number 3, define your true personal brand. We'll be talking about that tomorrow. Action step number 4, design your unique personal brand. Action step number 5, dominate your marketplace as the authority. Action step number 6, develop your brand signature style. Action step number 7, devise your personal brand marketing plan. Action step number 8, decide your desired outcomes, resources, skill set. Action step number 9, deploy your personal brand message. Action step number 10 is to deliver your personal brand promise. And so if we look at action step number 2, we're determining your brand target audience. So to ensure you give your brand the correct focus, provide to your clients the benefits they require and meet their expectations to do this. You have to know who your audience is. So let me just talk to that. When we talk about marketing, often we talk about the message to market. And so if you haven't really focused on your target audience appropriately and you understand like the modalities they learn and communicate in, some of their preferences for how the channels that they might communicate through, how your touch points connect with your audience, then you might have a message to market mismatch. And so that is really quite often what I see. I see it a lot where there's really incongruency between the marketing and the audience and how they would be receptive to that message. And so you have to really make sure that you have high level of clarity and congruency between your audience and their preferences and their expectations and their desires and wants. And when you've consult or this kind of information informs your customer touch points. And so they would be wrapped around what would be desirable and the preferences of your target audience. And then you start to communicate in a way that is that your target audience is open to and responsive to. And so when we're looking at action step number 2, this is really just a very basic snapshot. When we talk about it in a few minutes, when really, as part of our training, we talk about it for about 2 hours. It's something that we actually drill down into preferences, colors, learning modalities, how you might, some of your buying strategies around your target audience as well. So we get really quite strategic, I guess, and delve into it. So, often we talk about sales, people will talk about, their the hero journey and having sales funnels and knowing your avatar and knowing your audience. And really, it's about that concept of identifying either the gain, the pleasure that your target audience is seeking, or the pain that your target audience is in and what they're trying to, move away from, and really being able to identify that problem and provide a solution to it. So when we talk about it, we kind of encompass our whole branding message and brand awareness around these kind of concepts. So I hope that's given you a little bit of information around, this action step number 2, determine your brand's target audience. Really invaluable. And, every training course that I've ever done that talked about targeting your target audience hasn't really drilled down to how you actually become desirable to them. It's kind of like, yes, they're in pain or they're seeking this benefit, but how do you speak to them? How do you get your brand to be so on target with the messaging that they are just drawn to you and it becomes like this magnetic effect? So this is really part of branding, and that's what we often see missing in marketing. We see that they're targeting a market, but the message isn't a perfect match to the marketplace that they're seeking to to achieve results in. So this action step is simply defining your target audience, their expectations, their preferences, so that you can satisfy them. And that really is very basic, because how do you satisfy them? That's when I say, we do this holistic drill down into all these issues: colors, style, font, um, you know, expectations, colors, you name it. There's a lot going on there. So I always talk about a successful brand has two masters. And really, the brand has its owner, its corporation or the personal brand, and it also has its customers who are the other master of the brand. So you might have this brand that you absolutely love, but you've got a target audience that isn't quite getting your message, and because it's not necessarily congruent with them. So you really need to be flexible enough within your brand that you're addressing your target audience and they become a master to your brand as well. So they're informing your brand. And so, for example, if you're looking at my branding here, you'll see that I use white space very strategically, very intentionally. I also use the green. This green is very attractive to a certain age demographic. And so it's one of those things, it's also like there's a lot of psychology. So this color, I mixed it so that I was creating a psychological trigger. And, even the orange about communication, da 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 da. So there's a lot of strategic psychology that we're looking at when we think about our target audience. And it's one of those things where I don't know any person that or any other organization that drills down into the issues as to the degree that we do. And that's really because we do take a holistic approach to it. If you're looking at big brands, like you might look at what some of the vehicle manufacturers, the degree that they consider the design of their vehicle is so comprehensive. It's so detailed, and so we're really applying these big business concepts to your personal brand and your boutique business, for example. The other place where I often see, for example, Game of Thrones, when you think about that movie and the level of symbolism and branding and iconography that's within it, it is so incredible the nuances that were within that series. And can I tell you, I haven't watched the final season or the final episode, so please do not be a spoiler alert there. I don't know how I've missed it, but I seem to have missed it with everything going on. Anyway, so let's get back to this idea that your personal brand has to have a goal. The goal is targeting the best prospects, developing a unique market niche, positioning your business as the best solution, maintaining visibility and credibility, becoming the only choice brand. And you'll hear me talk about that all the time because I really do encourage my clients to become the only choice. And it really isn't that you are the only choice, it's you are the only one that comes to mind. So you become synonymous within your target audience, within your target market, as the provider of this service. And that's really about brand awareness, but being also able to correctly market and message your target audience. Very important. Okay, so we're talking about our resources. I'm going to deliver a worksheet around the 30 days, but for the first couple of days, all I want you to do is go across to Brand Yourself Blueprint and download our existing resource, the Brand Yourself Blueprint, the ebook, and the work journal, and wander through that, particularly the work journal, because it really does cover off some of these initial stages that we're looking at, and it gives you a little bit more of an insight into the level of training that we do. So the idea is that within the blueprint, you look at your existing brand, you think about your ideal brand, you think about some of the negative impactors on your brand, and then you look at how you might implement and execute some of these strategic changes to your brand. Really important. Okay, so like I said, grab that resource, brandyourselfblueprint.com. Complete the work journal. Any questions, feel free to drop me a comment in Facebook below this video or send me an email, rachel@rachelquilty.com or info@jumptheq.com.au. And really just focus in on this. As I said previously, this is a prerequisite for all of our clients. They must complete this document. So it's something that uh, it really determines our client's level of commitment. It identifies the level of training you're likely to get, but it also ensures that we get really good retention and we have really great results where we literally have 100% completion rate, unlike the training industry and the online training industries, where it's like literally 10% of people finish the programs that they pay for. So we charge a lot. It's one of the more expensive programs, but we literally have 100% completion, and we literally have such great success stories and results. So I'm going to litter some of those testimonials through the presentation so you can see what our clients get up to as well. Okay, with that said, I'm going to sign off until tomorrow, and I'll speak to you tomorrow as we dive into action step number 3. Okay, did that work? Let's see. Oops, it did.